Fantastic.
Yep.
So this is Carla Barnhill. Carla Barnhill runs a little web presence called themommyrevolution.com. And Carla comes on. We talk about parenting topics and all. And because I bumped Carla to another time, Carla, I'm sorry. We have a shorter segment than normal.
Oh.
I know it's 4 minutes. It's 4 minutes shorter. But that's life in the big world of commercial radio.
In the media.
Yeah, so Carla, I don't know if you got my text this morning, but I texted you over and said, did you see the article in the Star Tribune, which should be a sponsor of this radio program, called Peas in a Podcast?
I did indeed see it, thank you.
Look at that. There's this Marty and Aaron Erickson take a new track after ending their Good Enough Moms radio show.
Yep.
Well, they ended a radio show. Just you know what I think it is, Carla. I mean, they've moved now to a podcast. They were broadcasting on another station on a different frequency.
Had a social media coach come along and tell them what to do.
Well, you know what I think happened?
What?
They got word of the Mommy Revolution on Doug Pagitt Radio, and they said we just can't compete. It's sucking all the air out.
Probably true. That's probably true.
It's taken all of our listeners. So we are changing the airwaves. Mm-hmm. I mean, just put the two together.
Yep. I don't think it's a coincidence.
Oh, yeah, you tell me.
I'm with you.
You tell me how you get this.
Yep.
So what's happening over there at the Mommy Revolution?
Well, what's happening is that we're going to have a little conversation about sort of vacation parenting. And it really isn't just about vacation, but it's sort of when you're out and about, like when do you kind of keep the reins tightened up, and when do you just let go and let your kids have a little bit of joy in their lives? Like finding the balance.
When it doesn't interfere with what you want, that's when.
Right. Well, absolutely. And sometimes it's like, like we happen to be out of town right now, and I'm wondering if we should start doing a little Where's Carla?
Yeah, because
send me around the world,
I will tell you what, your family gets away on the weekends. Now, did you go out west?
We are out west, yes. In western Minnesota.
Yeah, some of us would call Alexandria up north, and we've been summarily corrected about that.
It's not up north.
It's not north.
West Central.
It's west.
Yeah, West Central. We are in West Central Minnesota in DDO. Because the Mountain King is home from Alaska. That would be my brother. So
the fish killer.
Pay homage.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's right, Doug. Get your geography right.
Oh, I thought it was north
of
here.
Since I have far less. Anyway, so we're on a little vacation, and we Barnhills, the husband and I, we tend to run a pretty. We don't think of it as a tight ship, but we are kind of on things. We're kind of on it all the time. We're maybe a little uptight compared to other parents. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. But we have lovely kids.
Mm-hmm. Right now you do. Yeah, right now.
Yeah, right now we do. So we'll see how it goes. But we tend to be a little bit. I don't know if we say strict, but we're on our kids. We're always paying attention, right?
Yeah.
But then we get on vacation, it's sort of like, when do we just kind of let things slide a little? When do we say, go ahead and jump on the beds?
Right, right. When do you set those bad habits? And we got to do it then.
When do you let them go running down the hallway, even if it does disrupt other people? Or when do you say, like how much on them do we have to be all the time? So that's sort of finding that balance, I think, is
And isn't
really
that the funny
tricky.
thing when you're doing that, and it's always when you're on vacation with your family, so then your family's perception of your children are that they're always running around and jumping on beds.
Yeah, that they're wild, yeah.
But you're like, no, seriously, like the other, 50 weeks of the year, we're not like this.
Right, we're mostly not like this, but every now and then we want to kind of relax a little bit. Chill out, and we would like to sit and read the paper and not have to be stop, don't, get, all the time, So I think that's one of those little tricky parenting things for that. Again, there isn't necessarily a right answer, but it is one of those things I think parents need to be intentional about and sort of say, okay, when are we going to kind of suck up some of our frustration and our kind of expectations for how our kids should behave in public, and when do we have to kind of crack down, and how consistent? Everybody talks about consistent parenting and consistent discipline. I think sometimes that's a little bit overrated. I mean, in general, it's a really good idea to be consistent about discipline and behavior expectations and all that kind of stuff, so your kids know what's expected of them.
No, I'll tell you, I think you're right on that. I mean, there's a whole sense in which, like, parenting children can be seen through the lens of, like, management theory, and like
exactly,
like setting proper boundaries and living it. Like, it's a very dynamic. It's far more art than it is business, and it's far more.
Absolutely.
It's far more experimental than it is. Reproduction.
Yeah. It's certainly not a science.
No.
There's nothing where you can say, and Karen and I on the Mommy Revolution, we talk about this a lot, that there is no A plus B equals C in parenting.
Yes.
It's one and one does not always equal two.
Yeah,
There's no equation that works in all times and all places. So you have to kind of every day wake up and figure out how you're going to do it today. because today is going to bring a set of circumstances that will probably ask that you do it differently than you did it yesterday, one way or another.
And that's the great thing for people. And that's the great thing for people like you who get to be around your own mother, because now you see your mother as a mom and as a grandmother. And I'm sure your mom would talk to you and say, boy, I mean, we used to, parent like that, and we wouldn't do it like that anymore. Like, we gave that a try once. Because that's the funny thing with parenting. You really have sort of that one crack at it with each kid. You don't get a redo.
True. Yeah.
So I bet your mom's got a view that's even a little more like, there's a lot of ways you can parent a kid.
Well, and I look at, like my brother and I, grew up with the same parents, and we're very different people, and we approach life very differently. And so, you can do all the same things, and your kids are, at the end of the day, they're individuals, and you're raising individuals. And that's what you have to keep in mind, that you've got these human beings who have needs and wants and hopes and dreams and gifts and talents and challenges that are different from yours and different from your other children. And so, I mean, this is, one of my things that I harp on all the time is this metaphor of parenting is the gardener. And I know I've talked about it here before, but the job of a gardener is to figure out what does this plant need to thrive, and it's going to be different from what that plant needs to thrive. And as a gardener, I have to figure out how to raise both of them in my yard. And
prune and rip off old things.
Right, and prune and be flexible and realize, that didn't work. I should probably move this to a shadier spot, or that I'm going to have to try that differently. Or and you got to
sorry, sweetheart. Sorry about those junior high years there, sweetheart. Yeah. Sorry about those junior high years there. You'd have to say, sorry about those junior high years, sweetheart. We thought you were a shade plant, and it turns out you really needed some sun. Sorry about that.
Well, and that's why it really is. It's sort of a daily thing. Every day you got to figure out, what do we need to do today?
Right.
Because today is different than yesterday. And you can have an overall game plan and an overall philosophy. This is the kind of parents we want to be.
The kids are pliable and flexible.
This is what we think we ought to be about as a family, and get those things figured out, and then you know that you have to be willing to adjust course.
Well, Carla, thanks for giving up your time. Yeah, all the time. And adjusting course doesn't always mean like changing course, right? I mean, it doesn't mean going the other way and switching around.
You have to fine tune it. If you're on vacation, you might have to lighten up a little bit. And if you get back home and everybody's falling apart, you might have to make bedtime an hour earlier for a few days to get everybody back on track. It's that kind of stuff.
Because most consistent parenting comes from the need the parents have to not have to think everything through every single time when it first comes up. Well, that's Carla Barnhill. She's the curator of the Mommy Revolution on AM 950. It was a shorter segment for Carla, so if you want more of her, you can get her over there at the Mommy Revolution on DougPagittRadio.com and AM 950, the voice of Minnesota. We'll be back with natural health coach Shelly Pagitt right after this.